Hey everyone, hope everyone is safe and healthy out there. Welcome to Librari-Con 2020. This is the 501st Legion of Stormtroopers, making of a Sith Lord, specifically Darth Vader. My name is Bill Lane. I have been with the 501st Legion since 2006. We are a non-profit professional Star Wars costuming organization, and we've been around since 1997. We have a presence in over 60 different countries with about 10 to 12,000 different members. Here in North Carolina, we have actually North and South Carolina, we have the Carolina Garrison, consisting of approximately 100 members. The 501st Legion it does consist of the quote bad guys, but I refer to us as the good guys because we're the ones trying to restore order to the galaxy. Just saying. We do have a sister costuming group called the Rebel Legion, so if you feel like you want to go to the light side for whatever reason, then by all means go that way. But today we're talking about dark side, which is the good side. Bad guys doing good is what I like to call it. So what I'm going to do is break down my Darth Vader costume and how it all came together. One of the questions I get the most is, where do I buy a costume like that? And the fact is that you can't buy any of our costumes complete unless you actually buy it from another 501st member that's selling it. Our costumes are approved, and if you do happen to buy another member's costume that's already approved, well then you should be good to go. But that's rare that you'll see someone sell their complete outfit. But I'm going to break down each component of my Vader costume, show you how it came to be, and maybe you can get some takeaways from that. Maybe you're interested in joining the 501st Legion. If you are, I'll have links to the 501st website down in the description, as well as the Carolina Garrison website, and you can also post a comment as well, and we can certainly help you get there. I've been in the Fayetteville area. This is my second time here, retired Army. I was back here in the late 90s and came back in 2007 and have been here ever since. Done quite a few events here. Librari-Con since the inception. I think it was 2007 was the first year. We've been here every year since. We do the Christmas parades pretty much every year. The Fire Ants hockey, marksman hockey, the Woodpeckers, we did a game for them, and any kind of charity events in the area we like to do, and that's our primary mission. We're a non-for-profit. We're professional Star Wars costuming group that likes to raise awareness to community events and local charities, and raise money for those different organizations. And we do have a working relationship with Disney and Lucasfilm. They do recommend us to corporations that want to promote their products, Star Wars products, and they want to have characters come out and do stuff like that. So we do make appearances on a professional level. Weird Al Yankovic, been on stage with him a few times. And the Fayetteville Symphony Orchestra, if you YouTube search Darth Vader takes over the Fayetteville Symphony, words to that effect, you'll see a video of Darth Vader taking over the symphony, of course to his favorite song, the Imperial March. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive right into the components of my costume. And again, if you have any questions, obviously this isn't live stream, but please comment below and I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. Again, if you're interested in joining our group, there's plenty of information out there. There's plenty of resources. You don't have to be an expert in sewing or vacuum forming, fabrication. A lot of our members will do that for you. All you have to do is have the love of wanting to give back to the community, and in the form, of course, doing Star Wars. But again, just comment down below and check out our websites. Okay, so we're going to start off with the bodysuit. And this is leather. It was made, custom made by a gentleman in Argentina. Believe it or not, this is actually about, this is 12 years old, this leather suit. Yeah, so still smells new. Take good care of it. It was custom made for the measurement, my specific measurements. As you can imagine, it does get hot in Vader, so you can see there's some vents sewn in there, and on the back of it you can see there's mesh, so you're not going to be able to see the back of Vader anyway, so there's a little bit of mesh in there, kind of help you keep a little cool. I mean, it does a little bit, but honestly it's really hot in this outfit, which is why I wear more or less Under Armour, the tops and bottoms. Helps keep the sweat off the body. Yeah. Okay, so these are the boots. Now, my Darth Vader is based on Episode 3. There are a lot of I'll say minor differences between all the different Vaders. Revenge of the Sith, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, even Rogue One. There's some minute differences in there, and in the 501st you actually have to choose which Vader you're going to do, because there's differences in the chest boxes, belt boxes, the helmets, the paint scheme, and yes, even the boots. So these are Chippewa, is where I got them from. I think that's how you say it. But yeah, these are really screen accurate. And when it comes to 501st, if you go check out our website and our costume reference library, it has all the details in there about what each part of the costume, and in fact, as I'm going through this, I'll talk a little bit about it. But if you're going to do, say, a Revenge of the Sith Vader or a Boba Fett, it's going to tell you, hey, this is what your helmet needs to look like. These are the little marks on there. This is the color it needs to be. For any of the soft parts, this is what it needs to have on there. And little things that they're looking for. And you do actually have to submit your pictures of your costume with all those different aspects, close-ups, things of that nature, so that a determination can be made to make sure that you're accurate. And if there's anything that needs to be adjusted, they'll let you know. But if you are good to go, you'll get approved and you'll get assigned a number. So we're going to start from the bottom up. Those are the boots. Next up are the shin guards. These are ABS plastic. They're not painted. Okay. And it just uses a simple strapping system that I put on there on the back. It's just stuff, straps you can get from Michael's or Hobby Lobby for the shin guards. And obviously they go over top of the boots and strap around on the back. And more soft parts here, the gloves. So these gloves are specific to Revenge of the Sith Vader. And the costuming reference library even specifies the stitching pattern in each of the different Vaders. You'll look at, the New Hope Vader had horizontal stitching. But as this is specific to Revenge of the Sith, including the angle, and even these three lines down here, the stitching pattern there. Okay, and this is the same leather, same guy that made my bodysuit. And just backing up real quick, yeah, the suit. Forgot to mention. So there's a piece of Velcro here. This actually holds the chest box. And again, talking about some of the variations in the Vaders, some of the other well, not some, but the other Vaders actually have straps that you can see that hold the chest box on. But Revenge of the Sith Vader has no straps. The chest box is actually attached directly. I got a couple of Velcro strips up here to help keep the chest armor down. But this leather, again, I take care of it like it's a new car. About once after every other troop is what we call it. Anytime we make an appearance, we refer to that as a troop. So after each troop, I have some really nice leather conditioner. I'll put it on there and take care of it. As you can probably imagine, this is an expensive hobby. I've probably got well over $4,000 in everything, but I've got multiple parts. I've got multiple gloves, chest boxes, belt boxes. I got 4 Vader helmets. So, and it's taken years to put all of this together. It's a work in progress. Those are the gloves. Next up is the con piece. So they do, for example, the gentleman that made my leather, he also makes a cod piece, but he didn't make this one. So when I first got into this, it was shortly after Revenge of the Sith came out. My son wanted to be Vader for Halloween. He wanted me to be Vader with him. I couldn't be caught in the neighborhood wearing some cheesy Vader outfit, so yeah, I scoured the internet for the most expensive, off-the-shelf Vader costume that I could buy. And I found it. It was made by Ruby's Costume Company. They still do make some costumes. But out of the box, I mean, it looked pretty good. Come to find out that it's far from accurate. But I didn't know about the 501st back then. So I just did it for Halloween, then put it away. And then a friend of mine, his son was having a birthday party, and I showed up there, and there were some Stormtroopers there. It looked like they walked right off the screen. And that's how I got, they were with the 501st. They said, hey, we could use a Vader in this area. It was in Alabama at the time. I told them I wasn't worthy. They said, you're right, but we'll help you get there. So again, they turned me to the website. I looked at the requirements to get everything up to approval standards. And I'll talk about some of the modifications I did. But the point is, this codpiece is from the original Ruby's costume. There are some elements of the Ruby costume that are actually accurate, and I'll go over that, but the codpiece is one of them. Okay, next up are the belt boxes and the belt. Straighten that out a little bit there. Okay, so it's a leather belt, and these belt boxes are the Ruby belt boxes. The belt is not. The belt buckle is aluminum, and all the knobs on here and this grill in here is aluminum. I changed out the lights that were in there for LEDs so they look a little brighter. But the belt, even down to the belt has to be a 2-inch belt in accordance with the Revenge of the Sith Vader, and that's again one of the requirements. So the shiny mesh in here is actually just from a air filter I bought at Lowe's. It's like a Fram air filter, the mesh that holds it in, and what I did is just layered it. There's like 2 layers of mesh in there to get it to look. So when all this reference is taken from screenshots from the actual movie, as well as other official sources of the costume. This clip over here is what holds the lightsaber, and that is the exact same clip that was used for Revenge of the Sith. You didn't really see the lightsaber. Well, not really. You didn't see a lightsaber in Revenge of the Sith, but he actually did have a unique lightsaber. By comparison, you'll see the original trilogy Vaders just use a hook for their saber. So just to show you a comparison, I actually have, it fell on the ground. This is the original Ruby's belt box setup. This one fell off. I'm just going to leave it here like this. So this is well, they're backwards. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, the belt itself is not really a belt. This part here is not the 2 inches that it needs to be. This is plastic. And when you're up close in person, it's little things like that that make a big difference. So the knobs on here are plastic. This mesh is plastic. I didn't put any batteries in here, but the lights are pretty weak. But that's the difference. And those are the upgrades I made to the actual belt box. And what I'll do later is when I get a break, I'll go ahead and put some batteries in there. Okay, so I went ahead and put some batteries in the original Ruby's box, which is right here, and then of course mine is right here. And you can see the difference in the lighting. I'll actually turn the light off here so you can see it. So yeah, as you can see, there's a big difference there in the lighting. Again, these are just regular bulbs, and on the screen it's still the same color. It's a green, just a lot better overall. But wanted to make that comparison. Okay, so let's move on to the chest box. And again, another component of the Ruby's costume that is actually pretty darn accurate. So this here is the original Ruby's costume chest box, unmodified. And on over here is the modified one. So the big differences here, again, just getting rid of plastic. So everything on the Ruby's is plastic. So what I did is I swapped out these rods. These are actually aluminum. The coin slots, as we refer them, are also aluminum. These switches I left in place. They're actually molded into the chest box. I couldn't find any suitable replacements, so these three metal silver switches are plastic. I changed out the lenses. As you can see on the Ruby's box, the red lens is above the green light, and it's reversed on this one. So on the actual Vader, this is obviously the accurate one. So one of the things I had to do was switch those around. I did use different lenses as well. I just didn't like the look of these, and I got something that was more cleaner looking. Also, the red rocker switch down here in the movie, Revenge of the Sith Vader, the red rocker switch actually lights up. But I'll show you here in a minute on the rubies, it doesn't. It's just painted over. You can see some of the paint is kind of worn off there. So what I did, actually if you take the paint off, it's just a clear red switch. So what I did is I went ahead and did that carefully, cleaned the paint off, and so it could be lit up. I'll go ahead and turn them on. Also, the lighting pattern is off on the Rubies version. So that blinking sequence is way too fast. As you can see, the red rocker switch is lit up. The lights on the modified box are a lot brighter. Again, I replaced them with LEDs. And so there was a gentleman on eBay that made a light kit specifically for these Revenge of the Sith Vaders. Again, there's a lot of resources out there, people that are making stuff, and he made a light circuit with the correct blinking pattern, and I bought a couple of those because I have a couple of these chest boxes. And that's how this correct lighting sequence comes into play here. He also added the red light for the rocker switch. When you open the back of the rubies, there's no extra light there. So that's just one area that they didn't seem to get right. But this attaches with the Velcro on the leather suit. I probably got enough stuff here to make 2 or 3 Vader outfits. Okay, next up is the chest armor. Now this is a modified Rubies chest armor. Okay, so the shape of it is the same. The only thing that's different is this is a real metal chain. It has the exact number of links in it with the movie, and it actually has to run parallel to the collar, the edge of the collar of the armor up here. You'll see some Vaders, the other Vaders are just different. These hooks, this chain is actually not functional, where on the other Vaders it is functional. And that's actually specific to the movie costume as well. When the cape is attached, it hides over these hooks right here, but the chain itself serves no purpose. Whereas the original trilogy Vaders, actually, the hooks actually serve a purpose. So as I showed you before on the leather suit, there's Velcro right here that keeps the arm, there's Velcro right here that keeps the armor in place onto because the cape, when it's on, it tends to pull the armor back. So this keeps it down close onto the body. And it's all about presentation. It's all about proportions and pulling off the look. So I'm 6'3", normal, with the boots. I don't use lifts. The boots have a natural lift in them of a couple of inches, and then the helmet adds a couple of inches, which brings me up to 6'7", which is the exact proportions of, well, not exact, but from what I'm told, is the correct height of Vader. Now, so this armor had a custom paint job done, automotive quality paint job. This paint job is 12 years old. I wax it just like I do a car. I'm pretty good at detailing, but I take care of this stuff. So I'm going to bring in some of the original, I'm going to bring in a set of the original Rubies chest armor. And you can see the difference in quality. And the paint, this is just plastic. It's just colored plastic. It's not real paint. You can see the chain there. is way off. The collars are hinged, which is actually accurate, but you can see they didn't do very good covering up the hinge. But it actually isn't supposed to fall down like that. It's supposed to stop right there, but there's a gap. I didn't like the gap. But my hinges are fixed. There's no, or I'm sorry, the shoulder bells, they're not hinged. So they're fixed. There is a little padding in here. Again, just pulling off the proportions. I had to put a little padding in there to just raise the armor a little bit so it looked good, and I didn't look like a bobblehead with the armor sitting so low. But again, just showing you the difference in the quality. As you can see, the shapes are the same, but had to do these modifications to get it up to par. Okay, next up is going to be the helmets. So I'll set some stuff up here and be right back with you. Okay, everyone, welcome back. So this is the good part, right? The mask that makes the man. So yeah, very slick finish on this. So this is a modified rubies. It's not 100% accurate because it's just not, it wasn't molded in the correct manner, but it's pretty darn close. I mean, it's good enough. It's good enough to make the standards. Again, this is one of the more difficult aspects of the costume, obviously, to try and procure. You can't, I can work on the electronics myself. You can find someone to sew your suit and your soft parts. You can do the painting and all that, but you really just can't. Well, I guess you could if you're really good, but actually make a nice Darth Vader helmet. So this actually comes in two pieces. The dome does come off. I'm not going to take it off just because I have it set up in a position that I like it. But again, automotive, just again with the armor, same thing as the armor, automotive quality paint job. The tusks around the mouth are metal. The nose is painted. You can see the grill. Again, that's a Fram oil filter mesh. The eyes were opened up, and I'll show you here in a minute. When I say opened up, and I'll show you a Ruby's helmet that's not modified, but the eye sockets had to be opened up. And it's just some plexiglass in there with window tint on it, hot glued in there. Got some padding at the top. That's actually the foam that goes around heating pipes. Can't remember what it's called, but it lets airflow in there. There is a fan right there near the grill, and it does blow up towards the eyes, and the fan is not there really to keep me cool because it's not enough to keep me cool, and I'm gonna sweat. It's gonna happen. I wear a headband to soak up the sweat to keep it from running in my eyes. But that fan there keeps the lenses clear from fogging up. That's one lesson I learned early on, is you really can't see much with your lenses fogged up. Some other modifications I had to do. Had to file out the 3 ridges on the nose right there. But turned out pretty good. When you look at the stock rubies, you can see the difference. So this is just shiny plastic. There's no paint on it. the dome doesn't quite sit well. So the dome, you know, believe it or not, the dome on this one, it took a lot to get it to sit right. A lot of modification, well, I don't say modification, but just a lot of heartache just to get it to sit right. And you can see the mesh there. It's not quite accurate. It looks a little deformed. It has this neck flare right here. So I actually put this one in boiling hot water to soften the plastic up so I could reshape the neck. And this sucker is really hot on the inside. But this is, let's see if I can pull this off. So that's what it looks like when you pull the dome off. But you could see the difference in the eyes. The eyes on the original are just too small, and the lenses attach on the outside, so there's no depth to them. They're just kind of like almost flush with the surface right there. So in order to get that depth, had to drill them out a little bit so I can attach the lenses from the inside. So this is an all black paint scheme. You'll notice if you do your research or just look at the movies, Return of the Jedi and I believe Empire Strikes Back, there was a two-tone. The cheeks were opposite, painted silver, little alternating silver paint scheme, and that was really to help with the lighting, the movie set lighting at the time, to bring out the features of the mask. But both these helmets pale in comparison to the Holy Grail. So this is a one-for-one replica of the movie used helmet in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. This was actually pulled from the mold used in the movie to make the movie helmet. There's a company called Master Replicas, had the Lucasfilm license, had access to the original movie mold, and they made, not sure how many they made, it's about 1,000 or more of these, and this was back in the early 2000s, shortly after Episode 3 came out, they made these. So it's accurate, right down to the padding inside the helmet, which was designed, the strapping system, this is leather suede in there. It's all meant to fit Hayden Christensen, who is the actor that played Vader in Episode 3. This wire is not part of it. This is for a fan system. So I actually do wear this thing. There's another fan in there, again, to help keep the lenses clear. But this is... So these slots up here were empty, so I bought these little metal pieces and painted them and glued them in there. So that's something I did myself. I wish it would have came with that originally, but that is how these are the actual pieces, same types of pieces that they use in the movie helmets. But it's a very nice helmet. It's got leather in there, and this is actually made of fiberglass. So over here, the Ruby's helmets, ABS plastic, and then you got fiberglass. And this movie used helmet is heavy. So the reason I have these two different helmets, why don't I wear this one all the time? If this is the accurate one, how come I don't wear it? Because it's heavy. I'd say 25 pounds with the dome on. I'll put that on here in a minute. By comparison, This one's maybe 7 pounds. So you can imagine wearing this helmet for a long period of time, which I have, can cause a lot of pain and headaches. So I redid. There was a they just had a single pad up here in the top, and for the top of the head, and it really killed me. So I changed that out. Go ahead and when I put the dome on, I gotta have it on this stand. Oh, and there's a so these buttons right here, there's actually a neck piece that buttons in on the back here, so it looks just like the front, and it makes it all look nice and neat. So the way the dome attaches is there's a key system on the top. It's actually that's a magnet. But you see it's got a notch in it. So there's a magnet in the dome as well, and you can see there's a notch in there. So once you line up the notches, and it's kind of cool when you do this, it just kind of locks in and sucks it on. There it goes. Alright. So there it is. So again, I will wear this helmet. I'll take a couple of Motrin beforehand. Depends on the occasion. If it's a high profile event and accuracy is important, which we do get some of those, I'll go ahead and wear this, as long as it's not going to be for too long. But I like to refer to this over here as my stunt helmet. You can see the neck isn't as flared out as it is. One thing you'll notice, the Episode 3 Vader, the neck actually goes under the armor, where if you look at the original trilogy Vaders, which actually this helmet is based off of, you can see the bottom of the helmet above the chest armor. So for Revenge of the Sith, they extended the neck piece to go below the armor. So it's a little bit tricky when I have to use this helmet, and I'm going to show you a video of me getting suited up so you can see how it works. But I have to put the helmet on before I can put the chest armor and the cape on, because the chest armor comes over in the front. I can't fit this somehow. I can't work its way underneath the chest armor if I put the chest armor on first. But those are the components of the costume itself. I'm going to go over my lightsaber next really quick. So as I mentioned before, you never saw it in the movie, but there actually was an Episode 3 Darth Vader lightsaber. This is unique to Episode 3 Vader. If it looks similar to the original trilogy Vaders, but it's not the same. And the lightsaber that I have, that I use for costume. So this is heavy and it's expensive. This actually fits on the belt. So when I'm not costuming with my saber out, I'll just wear this on the belt. And this is the clip that goes onto that clip that I showed you on the belt. It just snaps in like that. So my saber was custom made. Now you can see this, the hilts are kind of similar, but they're not exactly the same. Okay, you can see a little bit of difference there. The switches on the top, the little markings. But the grips kind of look similar. This is custom built by Megtooth Sith Sabers, which is owned by Tom Tillman. He custom made this for me. Does phenomenal work. There should be a tutorial, one or two, that are included with Librari-Con in the video list. But check him out. He does phenomenal work. Even if you don't do a costume, just to own one of these and have it at home to play with and show off is really awesome. So the main switch here goes, will power it up.
Initializing. Completed.
And then there's two buttons over here. One ignites the saber. The other one does the clash. And you can see how it's in the middle of the blade there. So it also has a feature called smooth swing. So if you move it slow, it responds appropriately, and if you move fast, it does as well. So there's a few different Vader sabers in here.
Lord Vader.
It'll, when you switch sabers, it'll tell you which character you're about to use. So this is another Vader.
You do have a great many things to explain.
This is one of my favorites. It's got a blue lead on it, a Tom Tillman exclusive. And the clash is green. So he actually programmed that himself. Pretty cool.
Kylo Ren. This is the weapon of a Jedi Knight.
Just in case Vader wants to go undercover as a Jedi.
I'm from the Resistance. Your sister Leia sent me. We need your help.
There's the Ray blade.
Luke Skywalker. If what you told me is true, you will have gained my trust.
Mace Windu.
Young Rey.
So this is another Ray blade, but it's a rain blade. So it's meant to simulate raindrops hitting the blade. Another variation of Vader. And then a little gimmick at the end.
The cyber project.
A little bit of something for everybody there. Okay. So next up I'm going to show you the audio system that I use with Vader. I'm going to turn the lights back on now. Okay, so this is the audio setup that I use with Vader. There's two speakers that I hang off on the sides of the belt. They're on the sides towards the back of the cape, so they're a little bit hidden. But what it does is it gives a stereo effect. And since they're coming, since the cape is behind them, they'll be positioned like this. So the cape is behind them, they kind of reflect out. No one's ever made a comment that it sounds like the sound is coming from my hips, but they're always impressed. So this case is actually a Game Boy Advance case that I've converted to hold the voice modulator. The voice modulator was hand built by a member of the 501st over in the UK. So that's the module right there, this little box. And keep it tucked away here. There's a power supply right here that holds the batteries. I just use a little switch right there to turn it on. And what this does is I've sewn Velcro onto here, so it'll go through my belt on the back, and it'll secure in the middle of my back on the belt under the cape so no one can see it. This is a little MP3 player that has music on it, so I can play Vader's Imperial March. I usually play that when I make my entrance. And the output, there's two outputs, one to each speaker. And the voice modulator, when it's on, has a constant breathing. So I can talk, the breathing is still going to happen. Even if I talk, the breathing can be heard in the background. So it's lifelike in that Vader is always breathing. And even when I talk, the voice doesn't, the breath doesn't stop because of the voice. These can get pretty loud too. So if I'm at a convention, I can turn it up pretty loud if I need to. So this is the microphone. This is the microphone headset that I'm going to use. It's a powered system. So right here on the side, there's a little battery in there. So I'll just plug this in.
Testing.
So what the voice modulator does, obviously, is it's got programming in it to change my voice to sound like Vader. But it's not an automatic thing. You actually have to try to replicate the voice of James Earl Jones as much as you can. The voice modulator pretty much just adds that reverb effect to it, the little robotic effect to it, but you still have to try to replicate the best you can. And you'll be able to hear this again once I get into costume.
Give yourself to the dark side. Don't make me destroy you. I hope so for your sake, Commander. The Emperor is not as forgiving as I am. Don't make me destroy you. Give yourself to the dark side. It is useless to resist.
Okay, so this is the MP3 player. I'll typically play this when I come out and make my intro. Of course, I'll have the Imperial March on. So this is always just kind of hanging along my side, and then I could just reach back and play it whenever I want. But I got a lot of different Star Wars music on here.
To the dark side. It is useless to resist. What have you done with those plans?
So as you can see, I can still talk with the music going, and then if I want to pause it, again, it's right behind my leg. So I just reach back there, it's not very obvious, and then I can just pause the music if I need to interact with someone. Okay, next up I'm going to get suited up, show you how it all comes together. Okay, so we're ready to put Vader together. put all the pieces together. I've already put on my head covering and I have my microphone ready, and we'll get started. I try to be as low maintenance as possible, but I will need some assistance at some point in time. And that's just to put the audio system on the back of my belt, because I can't do it myself. Next up, shin guards. You gotta manage this microphone cable the whole time. So there's a little string in the back to help me pull up the zipper. Okay. Next up is the cod piece. It's already starting to get warm. So I do have a sweatband underneath this cover up here. Keep the sweat out of my eyes. Can't stop it completely. Some folks have asked me why I don't use like one of those ice packs. And that's been considered by a lot of costumers in our group, but they last for about 30 minutes and then your body heat starts to warm the water. So unless you change it, it actually makes it worse. So it's just not worth the hassle. Okay, so this is the cloak that goes underneath. And the chest box, we'll go ahead and turn that on. And just velcros right to the chest. Okay, so the belt box is next. So I've actually got some belt loops sewn into the leather suit, and they come through the cloak. Oops. Sometimes I need help on this, but I'm gonna try to do it. Again, I try to be as low maintenance as possible. Okay, there we go. So the reason I did that, and there's one on the other side, is so the belt doesn't sag. Especially when I have that lightsaber on my belt, it gets really heavy and it'll like lean to one side, kind of like a gunslinger from the Wild Wild West. So I sewed in these belt loops, one on each side, and it helps, well it does it, it keeps the belt straight all the way around. So I don't have to worry about it. So this is where the belt buckles in the back, and I need assistance from my off-camera assistant, or whoever happens to be in the area. There's a few of our members that are quite familiar with how to put me together, because we do a lot of troops together. You ready? Go ahead. All the way. Tight as you can get it. Okay, so this is where we're at so far. So I have these pins up here to kind of pinch the cloak together, so it gives it a V shape. So if you look at the episode 3 Vader, there's actually like a V shape to his undercloak. And that's the reason why I did that. Again, like I said before, it's all about presentation and being able to pull off the look. Okay, so next I'm going to attach the audio system. So I'll put on the speakers first. So there's one right there. And then this one's kind of tricky, because I have the lightsaber clip on this side. There we go. Alright. So now this is the second time I need assistance, and I'll get this put in on the middle of my back. So the microphone cable is right here. Okay. Some of the places that we go to troop really don't have a lot of room for us, so sometimes it can be a challenge. Plug that in. Where that goes, right? And plug the speakers in. Oops. Okay, that's it. Alright, so there's the audio system. It's all hooked up. That's how it looks on the back there. Okay. As I mentioned before, this is my MP3 player. It just sits back there, and then I can reach around anytime I want if I want to play music. But as I was saying before, sometimes we gotta go outside in the parking lot and put our stuff on, just because we don't have enough room.
Give yourself to the dark side. Don't make me destroy you.
Okay. So now we're ready for the finishing touches. We'll get the armor and the cape on. Chest armor and cape. So as you can see, I attached the cape already to the armor, and those Velcro strips that are under here are going to help keep the chest armor in place. So with that, the next thing I'm going to do is put my gloves on, then I'll put on the helmet.
Testing. 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 I must test my audio. It is imperative. Lord Vader. Yes, Master. Rise. destiny lies with me. It is useless to resist. The name Anakin no longer has any meaning for me. You don't know the power of the dark side. Give yourself, or you will be destroyed. You don't know the power of the dark side. I must obey my master. Don't let yourself be destroyed as Obi-Wan did. Give yourself to the dark side. We've got cookies.
Okay, everyone, I'm breaking out in a pretty good sweat right now, just as it is. But there you go. I appreciate your time. It was a fun putting this together for you. Big props to the library for making Librari-Con happen, despite the situation. Hopefully next year we can see each other in person, see Vader in person, or Darth Maul. That's the other costume I do. But again, thanks for your time. Please, if you have any questions, put them in the comments below and I'll do my best to try to get back to you. And everyone stay healthy and stay safe out there. And remember, the Force will be with you always.